Hey, innovators, welcome to take two. So, in this little exercise, what we're going to do is incorporate not only input and output, but something that's really important when you are computer programming, and that is creating or assigning variables. So, let's have a quick look at what a variable is again. And I'll move this out of the way. So, a variable is a way of storing a piece of information whilst the program is running. Okay, so storing a piece of information. So if you have a look here, have you ever filled out a questionnaire and it's asked you for your name? And we all have different names, but depending on who's filling in the form, for example, the name represents whoever's filling in that form. So for example, here, I've got a simple program and we've got a variable that's called name. And in this variable name, we've set name to Batman. So what we've done is we've stored Batman within the name variable. So let's think about that for a moment. Set the name variable to Batman. Let's have a look at this problem that we've got, and we're going to create an algorithm and represent that algorithm as a flowchart. So within this task, we want to ask the user to input their name, then store that name in a variable called name. Then we want to ask the user their age, and we want to store the age as a variable called age, which makes sense. And then what we're going to do is have the computer output, hello, name, you are age, years old. Okay, so for this one, I might actually start with the program. Let's have a look at how it runs. Okay, so I'll hit the green flag to begin. What is your name? My name is Christopher. Enter. What is your age? My age is 36. Hit enter. Hello, Christopher. You are 36 years old. Excellent. Okay, that's a very tidy application. So how do we represent the way? So let me just jump back in. I'll click See Inside. So this is the algorithm that has been implemented in Scratch. But how do we represent this as a flowchart? Okay, well, I've got our algorithm to the side here. And I hope from the previous clip, you would have seen that the way we begin the algorithm is to have this oval shape, or you might want to call it a terminator, which is a much cooler name. And we need to give the algorithm a name. And this is take two, input, output variable. So I'll highlight that text, Control C to copy, and I'll tap, tap, tap in the center. And I can even just click and drag to delete the text in this box. Command V to paste. All right, this is quite large, this one. Now remember, if you hit backspace twice, it centers it a little bit more, but we might need to just click. You can even drag this out, and you can see how it's fitting in that oval shape now. Okay, so ask the user to input their name. So this is the user input. So to input the name, now remember, we're going to use the ask block. And the way we write that within our input shape in our flowchart is answer equals ask what's your name, question mark. Okay, I might need to tweak this, and I'll just click and drag this as a bit longer. Beautiful, that fits. And just click and drag it over. Now, here's the variable. Here's where we set the variable. And I've got this new block here, which is a process. Okay. Now, in your flowchart, to represent setting and creating a new variable, now our variable is called name. So I'm going to do name in big capital letters equals answer. So when the user inputs with the keyboard their name, that sits in this little answer block. And then what we do is we create a variable called name, and we want name to be the answer from the question above. So if you remember, and hit the green flag, what is your name? So here's the first block. Well, my name is Christopher, and I hit enter. Now, what's happened here after this block, there's been a process that's happened in the computer where it's created a variable and it's given that variable a piece of data to store, which is the answer from that question. Okay, so that's that block here. Might even make it a little bit neater. Here we go. Next part, what is your age? Okay, I think you might be able to see a bit of a pattern happening here. So I'll hit enter equals ask, what is your age? Question mark. Okay, I'll click on that shape and make sure it fits. Beautiful. Okay, now we want to create a new variable called age and assign the answer to this question, or the data that is inputted from the user to this question. We want to assign that or set that data to this age variable. So have a look. Have a look at what I've done up here. Answer equals what's your name? New variable has been created, name equals answer. So age equals answer. Now, where it says answer, remember this answer is connected to the question above. This answer is connected to this question here. Okay, so that's aligned pretty well. Now, the next part, say hello name, and then say you are age years old. So I'm going to use our first output, say hello. Now, how do I get that name? Plus, or you could use and, hello name. And then the next block is, it's not quite fitting here, so I'm going to put this next block up here, and I'll show you how we can connect it together in a moment. We want to represent this here. Say you are plus age plus years old. And then that will be the end of our little app. So we need to connect. So I'll use the arrow. So when I select arrow, you can see these little little connectors highlight. I'll just click and drag that over. I'm sure you can make it look much more straighter than mine right now. Select the arrow again, click and drag down. Arrow again, click and drag down. See if I can get that nice and straight. Oh, that looks nice. Hit the arrow, click and drag down. Okay, now watch this. This is really cool. See how we're running out of space here with our flowchart, and we want to get an arrow to connect to this next block here. Now, if I just select arrow and then click and drag that to here, you can see it's not the neatest looking way of representing the flowchart. So to click on that arrow, just click here and hit delete. And this is where we're going to use the elbow connector. So have a look at this. Exactly the same. You can see the crosshairs appear, but I click and drag. And then when I connect it here, do you see the way the elbow just neatly moves through the shapes and make sure that whoever's viewing this flowchart are able to follow along. One thing you might notice is, see how when you select elbow collector, there's no arrow at the end there? That's okay. Just click on the line and you've got here line end, line start. So if I select line end, I can select the arrow here and then that appears there. And the last part is to connect an arrow to the below terminator. So I'll select the options because I don't want an elbow connector for that. Just select, and I don't want a line. I actually want the arrow. And click and drag. And there we go. Okay, so here you can see take two. Here's our problem. And here's the way we've created an algorithm that has been represented as a flowchart. And here's what that flowchart looks like when we implement it using Scratch. Okay, thanks for watching. See you in the next clip.